If you're not using Facebook and Instagram ads to build your beauty business, you need to get on that. I have helped students go from 0 clients to fully booked. I've helped them to go from not being able to pay their salon suite rent to being booked out 2 months in advance and thinking, what do I do next? How do I manage all these clients? Whatever it is you want to do in your business to get bigger, ads can help amplify your message and reach the right people and, let's be honest, make more money. So in my program, the Ad Lab, this is what we help hairstylists, estheticians, and independent beauty pros to do, to make ads that work, that get results. But I don't do it by myself. We have an amazing coach, Carolyn in the Ad Lab. We also have Leah. Today, I'm bringing on Carolyn to chat all about what's working with Facebook and Instagram ads right now. We're talking about how to make sure your ads get approved, what to actually show in the video of your ads, how to follow up with people who say they're interested but you never hear from them again, what's the best way to book appointments right now, the trends in advertising, captions, videos, like all of that good stuff. Carolyn manages ads for med spas and wellness practices, but part of her other job is being a coach in our program. So today we're going to learn about her experience managing ads for med spa clients, but also what she's learned from being a coach in the Ad Lab and helping our students get amazing results. Let's jump in. Hi, Carolyn. It's so awesome to catch up with you. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Really good. Carolyn, tell us a little bit about yourself professionally, and how you got into being a Facebook ads manager.
Absolutely. So I have been running my own business for the last 5 years. I quit my 9 to 5 in 2020. I had my first daughter in 2019 and realized shortly that I was not going to be able to stick out the 9 to 5 thing. Mm-hmm. So I started offering ads. I had been in digital marketing for 7 years before that, or 6 years before that rather. And I just had the experience. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go all in with ads. And I ended up like cold calling so many local clients to see if I could like help them with their social media. And I really just built my business, like bootstrapped it within 9 months. Mm-hmm. My first med spa client, I started working with her like right before the COVID, the Zoom boom. So like right as mm-hmm. COVID happened, and I'm still with her today. She's like she's one of the best clients I've ever had. Awesome. And and that's really when things like in the aesthetic industry started to take off. I think just because so many people were staring at themselves on Zoom and they were like, wow, I need to get work done.
Oh, interesting.
I really hadn't done any work for aesthetics before then. I'm in the med spa, like Botox is obviously different than like, getting your hair cut, doing hair color, all of that. So we started working together, like I said, in May 2020, and I realized how much I loved the industry, because if you get a really good injector and a really good med spa and they're just crushing it on social media and they're just doing amazing work for their clients, it makes your job a lot easier. When I got my first job out of college, I worked at a local agency, and I was doing like really admin stuff, but I think because I was the youngest by default, they were like, hey, why don't you look into digital marketing? They had 3 clients at the time. I ended up growing it to 27 clients, and I was like doing everything. So I was doing like organic social media, SEO, Google ads, Facebook and Instagram ads. Like I was doing everything, and I was like, okay, I don't like all of this because I don't love organic social media for like working with clients. It left me so burned out. But ads, I love because it makes your efforts so amplified. Mm-hmm. Like the effort that put into your content, if you put an ad behind it, you'll be amazed at the results that you can get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is like, for me, I definitely agree with ads being amazing because they just put so much more oomph into everything that you do. But I also love them because they're really like results based. That's the problem that I've always had with Instagram, is like I've always had a hard time figuring out like, okay, the amount of time that I spend creating content for Instagram, like for my organic content, what is my return investment for all of that time? Because my time is money.
Right.
I always had a hard time figuring that out. Instead with ads, it's like I know what I put in and I know what I get out, and I know within a few days or like a week maximum if it's working or not, and then I just tweak my strategy. Like I always know what to do next and I always know if it's working or not. So it's very like black and white, I feel.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, and also I feel like you said, it's rather immediate, whereas with organic, there's a slow build, and if you're consistent with it, yes, of course, it does take time, but I do think there is a foundation that you need, especially in the aesthetics world. You do need a little bit of a foundation when it comes to like organic, and then there's other pieces there to have that solid foundation before you launch ads.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm curious what you mean about like it's important to have a foundation. So like it's important to have a following on Instagram before you run ads. It's important to have like good engagement.
So this is like a big thing that I'm trying to go through with my med spa clients. Before I bring on anyone for done for you ads management, I want to see, number one, what does your follow-up process look like? Do you have a seamless follow-up process for when a client goes to book with you? Because if you don't, your ads are going to fail miserably. So that's
And
like
when you
the
say
first
follow
thing.
up, what does that mean?
So, like, if a client reaches out via DM, via phone, via your third party booking, how quickly are you able to get them booked, right?
Right.
Maybe not so much third party booking because that's kind of automated, but if they reach out via DM, how quickly are you responding and how quickly are you able to close them? That's so critical, because if you have a couple DMs coming in of people wanting to be booked and you can't book those, and you run ads and you have hundreds of people trying to be booked, everything's going to flop, right? So
Yeah.
a big thing that I say is your successes will be amplified with ads, but your failures will also be amplified with ads. So you
Yeah. And
really
then you're
have to make
spending
sure.
money and throwing it down the drain.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So the follow up is one thing that you look for. What are some other things that you look for?
Absolutely. So, a consistent presence on social media. Now, that doesn't mean you have to have hundreds of thousands of followers by any means, but it's good to have a base of good content where you're building connection, authority, and trust. Those are like the big things I always come back to, because in order for people to want to book with you, right? Whether you're in a salon, whether you're in aesthetics, whether you're in a med spa, whatever it is, there has to be some semblance of trust, right?
Yeah.
And I think you develop that trust really well through organic social media, both feed posts and stories. I think people overlook stories, but it's so silly, but like showing your day to day, showing your clients results, showing your social proof, those very simple things build trust with someone who might be on the fence about working with you.
Yeah. So someone who found you through your ads and they're like,
Mhm.
oh, that sounds interesting. Like maybe I want to get Botox this year. But they're not ready to pull the trigger yet. So they follow you. And I
Yeah.
get tons of people following me from my ads. I can actually see like who followed you from your ad.
Mhm.
And then they kind of stick around for a bit and look at your content. So you find that that content that you post, your stories, that kind of thing actually does make a big difference for booking more people from your ads.
I think it does. I think you'll have a couple different versions of your ideal client, right? Or your ideal client avatar. So you've got people who are toe dippers, and those tend to be the ones that kind of like watch behind the scenes, or your lurkers. And then there are people who are, the people who are just going to dive right in, right? Your divers. And those are people who might see an ad and book immediately,
Right.
but you want to catch both people.
So how do people figure out like because when we're in the industry it all seems so obvious to us because we're surrounded by every day, we're educated about it, that's all we talk about, that's all we think about. But how do we figure out like what are those pieces of content either in our ads or in our organic content that those like toe dippers will need to see from us in order to feel ready to dive in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always do like a mix when I'm creating a strategy for my clients. I'll always do a mix of content. So I like to do a little bit of relatable content that's kind of fun and funny, because it
Sorry,
kind of
when you say
disarms.
content, you mean like that you're creating for the paid ads, right?
Yes,
Okay.
but I always tell my clients to use it on organic first, because it's good to build the social proof organically. Because if people are that follow you are leaving you good comments, right? You can use that social proof in your ads. So I like to do like a relatable piece of content, something that kind of shows your personality, right? And it can be something funny or entertaining. that people are like, oh, that's kind of funny. Again, it's like disarming.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. So the social proof and like showing results, so important to show results in all types of advertising, but specifically for med spas who are doing like injectables or weight loss, that kind of thing. It can be hard to get your ads approved when you are showing like before and afters, right?
there is a way to get around it, and a lot of times it's with video. So if you do a before and then you do like your process or your experience or like showing you working with the client and then you do an after, that's a really easy way to be able to like showcase a before and after. Same with like injectables. You don't want to show people getting like needles put into their skin because it's always going to get flagged. It's always going to get triggered because again, like you have to remember, Facebook wants people, Meta, whatever, wants people to have a good experience on their platform. And if someone logs on and sees someone getting injected and they're queasy about that, that's going to be a bad experience.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
err on the side of caution when it comes to injectables. So if you do offer that, I would say like just show you with the patient and then maybe like the after, right? Or like if you can show the room, if you have like a really pretty uh you know office or a really pretty room, there are ways to kind of get around it.
So, can you tell us a little bit about some of the clients that you work with, just so that people, because I know that a lot of people are skeptical about Facebook and Instagram ads because I see it all the time of like, oh, I've done boosted posts, they don't work. Like I've spent so much money. Maybe they've even hired an ads manager before and been like, I dropped like $2,000 and it was a terrible experience. Can you tell us about some of the recent clients that you've been working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, the one I referenced, Amanda, I've been with her, like I said, for 4 years. She actually just left her last practice and opened her own within the last month. And when I tell you within the last 2 weeks, she has booked, so what is it, December 13th, she has booked 84 new patients in the last 2 weeks. So she's running a bunch of specials right now. She's doing like Botox fillers. She's doing what's the other one? IV therapy. She has a bigger budget, but there are clients I have that only spend like $1,000 a month. There are some that started out spending 800 and then upped it because they wanted to see, like you said, they got burned by another agency. They were kind of hesitant. And then obviously as the results started to come in, we upped the budget.
Okay, so for your client Amanda, so she's spending up to $200 or $250 a day right now. How much are
Right
those
now.
clients spending with her that come in?
Oh, like literally anywhere. So one booking, the cost per lead for them is like $30 and the ROI a minimum $300 because you got to think the cost of Botox if you get like however many units you get, it can be $10 a unit, it can be $14 a unit, like up to 14. So the ROI is huge for a med
Yeah,
spa
that's a
for
10
wellness.
times return investment. She's spending $30 to get a lead and then they book with her and spend $300 each. That's amazing.
And not only that, but you have to also think of like the average customer value. What is a customer worth to you? If you're getting that person coming in at $30 and they're spending $300, that's great. But if they're returning to you over and over again, because obviously aesthetics is a maintenance business, if they're coming back over and over for fillers, for IV therapy, for laser hair, right? You have to think of how much are you willing to spend per lead, but also what's the lifetime value of your customer too.
So, why do you think that Amanda's ads are doing so well right now?
Yeah, so like I said, for her, she does a really good job with organic marketing. She shows up constantly on organically on stories, posting. She has help, obviously, like she has a girl that helps her with her organic marketing. Um, so she does build that connection, authority, trust, but she's also extremely diligent about the when the bookings come in, she gets people booked immediately. Like it's within minutes that she's responding, or her team is responding. Versus, I know that I tend to see like a lot of people struggle when it comes with like bookings coming in. They struggle to close the sale, and it could
Right.
be just like
Yeah.
they wait too long. They're not with their phone, right? Or just they might not even know how to close the sale. That's like another thing. I think we kind of deal with that a little bit in the ad lab where people are
We do.
coming
Yeah.
they're coming into this kind of new and they don't know how to close a sale via DM, which is
Yeah.
tricky.
Yeah, so that's just for like some context in the ad lab and how Carolyn does with her clients, it seems, is instead of sending people who click on your ad over to your website or over to your booking app, we actually send them to the DMs, whether that's on Facebook or whether that's on Instagram. And then it's up to you to have a conversation. And it's something that I've told our students in the ad lab too, of people who are getting lots of like clicks on their ad and lots of leads into their DMs, but they're not able to book those leads. Obviously, we look at that conversation of, okay, what are you saying to them? What are they saying to you? And
Mhm.
one tip that I give them is like, make it as personal as you can. So if it comes to like people ghosting you and you haven't heard back from them after you message them, send them like a quick voice message, send them a quick video
Yeah.
message, send them, something that you created on Canva that's like a little piece of educational content that's going to help them, like anything that's personal to what they have talked about, even if it's just a 10-second voice note. It really
Yeah.
makes a huge difference for them to be like, oh wow, like this is Amanda is a real person, like this is a real
Exactly.
business, I'm going to pay way more attention to this conversation now.
Yeah, that's so true. And just another thing, like to talk a little bit about third party booking, because I know there are people who maybe don't want to do DM and they want to send ads to a third party booking
Yeah.
site. So I've got a client right now, like I said, she owns a wellness practice. And when she hired me originally, um, we launched her ads and all of her ads went to the website, went to this third party booking. A lot of times with third party booking, and this is like something that med spa wellness practices salon owners should know, you can't track as easily as you can when it comes to DM. So a lot of times when you go to third party booking, you could lose the client because there's a lot of options on these third party
Oh
booking
yeah,
sites.
absolutely.
Oftentimes you can't even add your pixel to these sites, which is kind of frustrating. But if you have a good strategy, so for example, this client, she's got this third party booking site. Originally we were having tracking issues and I was kind of stressed because I was like, I don't know how well her ads are doing. And she was like, oh my gosh. She was like, yes, we are getting so many bookings. She was booked out 2 months. I
Oh,
didn't
that's
realize
awesome.
because of our ads, but only because people couldn't book on the third party site because so many people had filled her calendar for like 2 months in advance that people were calling. So just be aware of that. Like if you do run ads to your website or to a third party booking, you might have people calling, you might be losing people, right? So be aware of where people are going when you do run ads. And if you find that, okay, they're not booking, you need to look at the process of that third party site. Is it confusing?
Yeah.
Is it clear?
And it
Um,
often is really confusing. Like, I know there are so many booking apps and websites out there, and for us, maybe because we're used to them, like they make sense. But for the
mhm.
average person, they're like, wait, what? Which option do I choose? Like, what kind of facial am I booking? I don't know. This is just too confusing. And then they get distracted. They go on your website, and then eventually they just forget all about it. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to like make the path as smooth as possible.
Yeah. And like, if you can, make the page as simple as possible, like as little text as possible, make the offer very simple. If you can have people organically booking through those sites and it is easy for them to convert, then when you run ads to it, it's going to be easy for them to convert, right?
Yeah.
So again, your successes will be amplified with ads. Your failures will also be amplified.
So let's talk about trends because we're going into the new year. Things are changing. Ads are always evolving, just like the Instagram algorithm is always evolving. What are some trends that you're seeing that are working for ads right now?
Yeah, so I would say the biggest thing, like I said, people are buying differently now. I think people are getting really wise to the way that they're advertised to. And I think that they obviously know they're advertised to a lot sooner when they go on social media because we're just inundated with sponsored posts all day long. So
Am I the
if
only one
you,
that actually likes looking at ads? Probably. Maybe you
I
do
know, I
too.
do too.
I
I
go on
do.
social media for the ads.
Yeah, yeah, because you're in it, you're like analyzing it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but like I said, like anything that you can do that's relatable and that's going to disarm people, that's going to be the best type of ad. So if you can like make people laugh, if you can entertain people, if you can just be your like most authentic self and that's going to be the way to kind of like capture their attention within those first 3 seconds, because you really do only have 3 seconds. Disarming them at the front end, and then building that connection, authority, trust on the back end, um, is going to be key. And you can do that really well with retargeting. So just retargeting people who have seen your first video with different versions of ads, that's going to bring them onto your page. That's going to bring them to your website, and eventually it'll bring them to converting. So my biggest thing would be like, don't take yourself too seriously. But if you are more introverted, find ways to kind of include that in your marketing, right? Maybe even just calling out, the fact that you are introverted and, you're uncomfortable being on camera. Because
Yeah.
again, like you've got to, if you're going to put yourself out there, if you really do want bookings, if you want to build that trust, you've got to find ways to have fun with it.
One thing that just randomly came to mind is like, I have this video saved on my phone of me putting on one of those Instagram filters that gives you like massive lips and like this tiny little nose. You could just like the first 5 seconds of your video could just be like, yeah, you don't have to look like this, after you get fillers.
Yeah.
Actually, most people would probably never even know. And that's what we specialize in, is like natural fillers that people don't comment on, that don't look like a filter. So I just had some like rapid fire question, not really rapid fire, because I kind of want you to get into them, but like which ones you prefer, which ones are doing better. Photos or videos in ads right now?
Videos all day long. And you can do short or long. Long form, obviously, I'm saying like 90 seconds, because with an ad, you can't do one that's longer than that. But anytime that you do a video, especially face to camera, it's going to build that trust.
One of the clients that I worked with, Ani, she has a line of hair extensions. We did a retargeting video for anyone who has visited her site in the past few months or in the past few days, but hasn't purchased anything or created an account. She's just showing up on camera being like, hey, I'm Ani, like this is my business. I started it a year ago. It's grown like crazy. I'm a hairstylist like you. And I really think that those kind of like personal off the cuff things, maybe not as like the first ad that people see, but a follow-up ad can work really, really well for people being like, oh yeah, that does sound familiar. I was on that website. Oh, this is the business owner behind this business.
I think that's super helpful. And those retargeting ads, man, I cannot stress this enough. If you are running ads, you need to have a retargeting strategy.
So essentially, how you do retargeting is anyone who's watched, like, let's say 10 or 20 seconds of your first ad video, like show them another ad video.
Yep. Or typically with retargeting, anytime we're doing retargeting, we're including people who watched that first video, but we're also including people who have gone to the website within the last like 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is. People who follow your page, people who have engaged with your Instagram content or even DM'd you before. All really good ways to get people to re-engage.
So next question for you, captions. Do you like long captions or short captions right now?
So I am going to be kind of I don't know, how do I want to like say this? I think it doesn't matter. I think your caption should be however long it needs to be to get the point across. Like we talk about in the ad lab, your irresistible offer. If it requires you to elaborate a little bit more on a long caption for your irresistible offer, then so be it, right? I do think you should test both, because some people do like short captions. Some people do like long captions. Some people are video watchers. Some people are, carousel scrollers. Again, you have to capture the attention of a whole group of people. But I do believe that there is no magic, I don't know, magic.
There's no magic formula for making an ad that instantly will pop off.
That is so true. So that's why I say like test as much as you can. If you have the budget for it, obviously. A lot of times with this industry though, I found like short to medium captions tend to work really well, because it's not, I think with different industries, like if you're in a coaching industry, if you are trying to get people into a program, like a group program, like you have the ad lab or like I have Simple Ads, you do have to get a little bit more elaborate on all the things that they're getting. it's different. The industry is just different. But when it comes to the aesthetics industry, I think when you go with a short or a medium caption, you'll typically be okay.
What do you think about using Chat GPT to help with captions?
That is so funny that you said that because I was just thinking about ChatGPT as you were like about to ask that question. Okay, so I have mixed feelings about AI in general, like ChatGPT. I use Claude AI a little bit. I do feel like there are uh, becomes apparent if you use it too much and if you use it word for word. Like there are certain terms that Chat GPT and even Claude AI will use. It's very canned. It's not personal. It's not authentic. There's another thing that they always say is like the word wizard. Like, why do they always use the word
Oh
wizard?
my gosh. Last time I heard the word wizard was like 1996 when you're like setting something up on your computer.
Yes. I feel like they use it all the time. They're like, you'll be an ads wizard in no time. I'm like, who would say that? Use it for ideas, use it to give you feedback. Like if you were to say, make this long caption shorter, something like that.
I do find one thing that I love to use ChatGPT and now Claude for is like coming up with names for things. So,
Yes.
one of the things that we teach in the ad lab is coming up with a name for your package, for your irresistible offer. And do you do that too with your clients, like having like a special name for the package?
Yes, every package has a special name, but we actually don't use AI. We kind of just brainstorm it together
Yeah,
typically.
yeah. I'll say to Claude, hey, so I really like names like this, and this. Can you give me 10 more ideas that are similar to this? So, speaking of offers, my next question was what kind of offers are doing really well right now for the clients that you have?
So for right now, because we're near Christmas, bundles are always going to do really well. So it's basically like if you can create a bundle of your top two services or top three services, those are going to do really well. And that doesn't always mean that you have to discount something. And I know you teach this in the ad lab. You can just add value to it. So a lot of times, if you were to for med spa practices, wellness practices, if you were to do like Botox and filler bundle, and then you add like an IV drip or something that is like quick for you to do, but it also like gives them more value. That's that irresistible offer, right? So the bundles are always going to do well.
Yeah,
So think of your most popular services and bulk it up, or even if you want to like discount it to a certain point, that's fine too, as long
yeah.
as you're not losing money on it, right? Um, but for us, like med spa and wellness practices, Botox fillers, facial balancing, skincare sales, free consultations, those are always going to do well. Always, once you have them in, you can always like upsell.
That's exactly right. So, I wanted to follow up with two things on that. So, first of all, for anyone who's new in business and you're like, well, I don't have enough experience to know whether this is going to do well for this time of year because I've never done this before, get feedback anyway. Like, go on your Instagram stories, post a poll of like, hey, I'm thinking of doing an offer for next month. Which one looks exciting to you? This one, or this one? Every single client that comes in and, while you're chatting, ask them like, hey, I'd love to pick your brain on something. Which of these three like get as much feedback as you can so that you're making at least an educated decision. The other thing I wanted to ask you was about introductory services versus packages, or series of treatments, because I know that some of our students who do, for example, laser hair removal, they'll tend to want to sell like a series of treatments, which totally makes sense because you know that you need that series of treatments to get results.
Yeah.
I often tell them, hey, what about doing an introductory treatment first so that, they can get to know you a little bit, they can see how it works. And then from there, then you can sell them on a series. What do you think about that?
I love that. And that I think also goes back to what we were talking about, those toe dippers. So again, if you don't have somebody who's ready to dive in and spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on something like laser hair, having an introductory service of getting them like a taste of what it is, maybe they're a little hesitant about it. But once they're in, you can kind of gauge their comfort level and you can customize their package to them, right? That all
Yeah.
of my best clients have done that. They've customized packages specifically to the client once they're through the door through that introductory package.
So, Carolyn, if someone wanted to hire you, how much are your fees typically like? Do you do like per month? How does that work?
Yeah, so my packages I do per month, and I'll usually do but like a 3 month contract or a 6 month contract. I don't love a 3 month contract because I feel like you do need more time to like make it build. Now
Mm-hmm.
that being said, we are able to get our clients results within a few days because I'm telling you, like these ad strategies work so well. So it can cost anywhere with my packages between 2,000 a month and beyond. But the thing is, it is well worth it if you hire someone in the niche that knows what they're doing. And like I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
um, the process that we use to build that connection, authority, trust, it is a proven process. So you will see results immediately.
Yeah, amazing. So, how can someone tell if it's better for them to learn how to do ads themselves, maybe join a program like the Ad Lab, or, figure it out, or to
Yeah.
hire someone like you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it depends majorly on like the things we talked about earlier, the foundations of your business. So do you have those foundations in place? What does your follow-up process look like? Where are you at with organic content? How are you converting people right now? Do you have proven offers, right? So think about all of those things. If you have all of those things in place and you've been in business and you're churning out clients quickly, it might be the right time to hire an agency, right? To take it off your plate and to just amplify what you've already put into place.
Mm,
Now, if you're not at that level, it really depends on your budget, right? So, do you have the money to have an expert running ads for you, or can you do it to yourself until you're at the point where you can outsource?
yeah.
Um, that just tends to be the case for so many businesses. Do it yourself until you can outsource. There's a lot of things that I bootstrapped until I could outsource it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are newer to it, if you are doing your own marketing and things like that, that's why a group like the Ad Lab is so great because you can learn from an expert how to set it all up, how
Yeah.
to get comfortable in Ads Manager, what questions to ask. And it's at such a lower cost than hiring an agency and having like a retainer.
Yeah, but I love having you as one of the coaches in the ad lab because you take all of that experience that you're getting from these like premium clients who are paying you a good amount every month and you're booking a lot of clients for them. You're taking all of that experience and you're also helping our students learn from that experience too. So having someone on the
Yeah.
ground who's actually managing ads is such a blessing.
And I do think it is important, again, like to be in the niche. To hire someone who is in the niche, right? Don't just hire any other agency who runs ads or any expert who runs ads because if you hire somebody who runs ads for a car dealership, that's massively different than
Oh,
working with someone who
yeah.
runs ads in the
Mhm.
aesthetic niche. Just based on what's working in the industry, what you're going to pay per lead, and also what works like for the specific niche. So because the analytics are going to be different across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting, Carolyn. I love nerding out with you about ads. I want to do this again so that we can keep updated on like what's working with ads right now. So
Yes,
let's make a pact to like do this every few months because I think that would be awesome.
that would be
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah. So if someone wants to work with you, how do they get in touch?
Yeah, absolutely. So Instagram is probably the best way, honestly, and it's Instagram.com/Carolyn_Grace Hebner. Um, and just sending me a DM. I have tons of content. I'm also on Threads, which I'm like loving lately. And I'll also by email, Carolyn at carolyngracecoaching.com. And I have my website, of course. It's carolyngracecoaching.com. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah, I will put that in the comments as well. All right, Carolyn, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us about Facebook advertising for med spas and the beauty industry. And I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you in the Facebook group in the Ad Lab next week. Bye for
thank you.
now.
Bye.